How's it going there? Skip remains.
Josh, look what we got for nachos.
You put this table here.
Is this like boat yoga?
What are you doing, Dave?
That's it.
Pilates with Dave Roberts.
Hello. Hello, Josh.
Right.
Camperzola we got. Red stuff.
Plenty of
For the
Camperzola.
nachos. I got the red. Can we tell viewers why you've got to Rain-X the window when there's a windscreen wiper on your doghouse here?
Sometimes windscreen wipers are there for adornment, for cosmetic purposes.
It's telling us it doesn't work, is basically what he's telling us.
Dan? Daniel? What's going on?
It turns out that Skip Oliver has put a few things down the sink, and I'm now pumping the boat out.
Can I just say, whatever's coming out absolutely stinks, Dan?
Well, we left the previous episode on the visitors' pontoon of the Isle of Gia. That evening we enjoyed inviting fellow sailors to partake of our cod and pollock that we'd caught, and we cooked on the beach together. The next morning we set off in some choppy seas around the top of the Isle of Gia, across the Sound of Jura and up into the Sound of Islay. That's the narrow stretch of water between Jura and Islay.
Out there, wrapped up in your summer
Oh,
outfits.
it's freezing.
I mean, we've even given you a penthouse and you've still got more clothes on than a polar bear.
Morning, Dee.
Hi.
Where are we off to, Dan?
So right now we are in the Sound of Jura. We've left the Isle of Gia and we're going to go through the Sound of Islay, which is a little channel of water between the islands of Islay and Jura. And as we pop out to the top of there, we're going to swing a left and go northwest to an island called Solent, and we're going to go and hide from the wind because it's summer in Scotland. So we're going to go and hide from the wind on the top northwest corner of there, and God willing, it'll be very beautiful.
Perfect.
Can we have a word about summer in Scotland? I mean, in my house, this sort of temperature, we'd have the heating on.
This is mid-June now, isn't it?
Yeah. Longest day, supposed to be warm.
Look at us, look at us.
It's a pleasant place, but you would never call this temperature pleasant by anybody's calibration.
Just disappointing in you both. One of them was in the league.
Just on you motoring there, that's what I thought you were doing. Slightly just.
Sound of Islay. We got the Islay is to our port side and Jura is to our starboard. Just fishing again, and I think we've already got one nice mackerel in the bag. Second one due any moment.
Hopefully, yeah.
Moody sky, isn't it?
David? Hello, mate. Your little sea Labrador. How's it going? I sing a seal shanty.
The islands of Coronsay to the north and Oronsay to the south are beautiful, so we decided to go ashore. Oh dear.
Can you move your backside away from my face, please? I got my arm up bent that much.
Two salty old yacht masters, one well experienced nipper, and they can't even get in a tender.
Why are you giving me this rugby thing?
Boys, you're going the opposite way. What? Okay, you can put them on the boat and row. Gentlemen, why don't you actually tie them on the boat and row it? It's so efficient.
Might be exactly a lot of space.
What? Who pumped it up? You haven't made it very full. they've got quite a long way to go, as it happens. It didn't seem like that when we anchored, but the way they're getting on, it's going to take them hours.
After a fairly rolling night at anchor, we set off crossing Tarbot Bank and into Port Tarbot. This is on the Isle of Jura and is not to be confused with the town of Tarbot. Now, for reasons we're going to explain shortly, this is an absolute must-go-to anchorage.
Stunning Loch Tarbot. We're going through that gap just there. Just there.
The straits here require a bit of careful pilotage and you need to work with the tides, but nothing difficult, and there are plenty of transit marks on the hills around to guide you in. Once through, we anchored at the far northwest end of the inner pool.
We'll talk about. We need to find a solution to this problem. He's up.
No, this is going to be slagging me off again. No, it's wrong.
No, it's not wrong. He's up 4 times last night, maybe 5. You think it was 5, Dan, don't you?
I'm going to go for a round dozen. He said hello many more times than 5.
No, I did not.
Well, first of all, he's got to come through your.
Yeah, he opens the door and bangs it against my head. Every time he opens the door.
And then he walks.
He doesn't latch it, so as soon as the boat rocks while he's peeing, it's bang, bang, bang.
And then he has to walk through Dan's section, so Dan's
always awake and he's lonely, so I just say hi.
I am often awake, but that's a different.
He wasn't.
I have my own problems, but Rear Admiral Oliver here, opens the door to his cabin with Josh, and the door easily just has a latch on it. And in his great intentions but really poor application, he decides not to put the latch in because that motion might wake up Josh. So he just slides out of there, wakes me up or says hello if I'm already there, at which point the boat rolls on its anchor and the door slams back and forth, and poor Josh feels like he's in a war zone. So I have to get out of bed and put the latch on for him while he's having a wee.
Then it seems you have to try and get a little bit more sleep for an hour and a half before it all happens again.
Yeah.
Is this about right?
It's about right. I read 10 minutes of my book each time he goes for a wee. And it's to settle my brain back to sleep. I tell you, the whole evening is just exhausting.
So what's the solution?
Can I just say, this is not one of those adverts for men get checked, just to be clear. It's not a subtle way of saying...
No, don't say that's not the right message. Men do get checked.
Do get checked.
Yeah,
by the
but
way.
I
I think
the
part
point.
of it is a learned behaviour.
Yeah,
I
it's
think-
Pavlov's dog, isn't it?
Yeah, he's been rewarded. He gets treats on his way back from the kitchen. That's what's really happening.
It's not me who's lonely. You just want a conversation in the middle of the night.
And that's after you factor in his snoring that he wakes himself up
80
with.
something decibels.
82
you recorded him at.
decibels I recorded the other night. 82 decibels at 1 metre.
You're a talented individual, aren't you?
Multi-talented, multifaceted, and if you guys have got nothing better to film about than
In
my personal challenges, which are now broadcasting, shame on you all, and you're just lazy. You know you're
Yeah,
lazy.
the age-old-
You don't want to bother shooting proper footage for Lee Shores. No, don't interrupt. You are lazy, and you are full of...
No, don't say it. In the age-old Lazy Jack's way of asking, what you got to say for yourself, Oliver?
I say shame on you all picking on my proclivities that are personal distressing habits that I'm trying to manage, and you can't be bothered to shoot proper footage for filming.
Yeah, tell us.
So this is the west coast of Scotland, or at least the portion that we're playing in at the moment. So this is home, Portavadi Marina, over here on the Cal Peninsula. And so we went out towards the top end of Arran on the first day. The winds hit 40 knots in that process, and we decided that that wasn't a good idea to keep going.
He's got to get past.
Sorry, Dan. I'm checking the nachos.
Sorry, we're checking.
Oh, I thought he was coming to attack us.
No, nachos.
So a preemptive strike that was.
We can talk about your trust issues with Nipper later. But so we went down here, 40 knots of wind, decided that wasn't the right thing to do, so we came home via the shops in Tarbert. And then the next day we went all the way down the sound of Kilbrannan to Campbelltown, had a little bit of a suspicious curry in Campbelltown, and then we came out of here, went round the Mull, or this is the bottom of Kintyre Peninsula, and this is the Mull of Kintyre. So we went through the sound of Sander, and around this moment we discovered some rather lumpy seas, which you've already heard about, and we came round the Mull all the way up to Gear, and here's the nachos.
Oh, Josh is such a star.
Nearly falling up the stairs.
Don't fall over though. So,
Yeah, lovely island.
Yeah, to Gear. So we had a great time here, and then we left Gear, went round the north end, all the way through the Sound of Isla, which
So this
takes
is the Isle of Jura and the Isle of Isle.
Isla. Yep.
Isle of Ice.
It's all right. All right.
The Isle. And terrific whiskies on both of these. And so we came through the Sound of Isla and popped out of there to Oronsay, and we anchored around here last night, which was a very beautiful place, but we were open to the swell of the entire ocean. And then this morning we sailed over, and around about here we saw a minke whale, which was really beautiful, and then we went into what's known as Loch Tarbert, long way in, quite tight passages, and we're roughly here at the moment, and Admiral Roberts wishes, when the tide settles in a moment, to pop through this tiny gap, have a look at the pool, and we'll come out and have tea here.
So here's the absolute must-do bit of sailing. We're anchored just here. Now there is a top pool that nobody seems to go to. It involves this passage that is just a few boat widths wide and runs at 5 to 7 knots or more at its peak. We entered about 45 minutes into the flood, and it was already running between 2 and 3 knots. Well, hats off to Dan for risking his beautiful new boat to satisfy our craving for risk. It really should be slowly does it, but that's not easy when it's running with you at 2 to 3 knots. However, once you get past this first bend, it does slow down considerably. Navionics seems pretty accurate, and there are lots of transit marks in the hills and cliffs around. One set we couldn't find, but we just took it slowly. Once through it all, there is an amazing, small, tranquil anchorage in the top pool, closely surrounded by mountains and stunning scenery.
Josh, what we got?
So I'm introducing the steak that we're going to be enjoying tonight.
I feel like I've seen this before.
You may have. We have 2 of these steaks that we're going to be cooking. This is a,
Each?
No,
Two tonight.
Two,
So that's 2 of those between 4 of us.
Yep.
Wow.
So this is a cowboy steak. that we have for you tonight. So we're going to have 2 of them. A cowboy steak is a trimmed down version of a tomahawk steak. So the bone is cut shorter and they've removed a significant portion of the fat cap on this side. So what that means is you get more of the ribeye flavour. You still get the bone on and bone flavour into the meat, but it's less influenced by the pure fat, so you get more of the actual muscle fibres themselves.
And what about the marbling? Is that good marbling?
So the marbling is really reasonable in this.
What are you doing? That was a good question. There's a lot of marbling in the steak, and it's going
right into his nose.
Carry on.
Have you not pressed record?
No, I have, but I just...
So what about the marbling,
It's
Josh?
repetition of questions exactly the way...
Well, why are we having to repeat the questions, Admiral Roberts?
He's laughing because he didn't press record last time. I'm asking the same questions like a good pro would.
Anyway, about the marbling.
The marbling here, as you can see on the main portion of the meat, is absolutely fantastic. We've got a tiny bit of fat caps here and here, which will add flavour to the meat, but won't overwhelm it, so you get the meat
So,
flavour.
Josh, people have written in before on Lee Shores and said, how do you actually go about cooking a steak like that on a boat oven?
So there's 2 things. The first thing is I always sear the steaks first. I'm not reverse searing, so sear first. And then if I get a nice crust but I'm still far too cold in the middle, the oven will always be on and I'll slide it into the oven completely covered in foil.
So you're searing on the hob?
On the hob as high as it can go, getting a really nice crust. And hopefully that should get the meat, and I'm only looking to get the middle of the meat up to 49, 50 degrees, and that should hopefully give us a medium rare on the inside once it's rested. And so I'm looking at about an 8-minute cook for this.
Wow.
And then a 10 to 15 minute rest. It may be more than that if the hob can't get hot enough.
And you've got a thermometer that you bring on the boat, always?
Yeah, always. With a size, a piece of meat this size, you have to have a meat thermometer.
Next video will be the real thing.
Yeah, hopefully.
Phew.
You are a useless cameraman and editor and
Dave is very proud because he's got this conviction that he's an incredible impressionist. And we're about to discover the truth of it. So if you do your impression, Dave, then I'll do the real thing. And we'll see which is most...
Are you ready?
Yeah. So that is supposed to be the same noise as this onboard cordless Hoover. Listen.
That's too
Flipping
close.
heck, that's uncanny, Dave. That is uncanny.
Do a product placement now.
No, what have you got to say for yourself?
Actually, I was
impressed.
disappointed because it was a good 2 notes out.
It's half an octave out. I mean,
Just show them that product.
Yeah, there
I
you
think
go.
it's brilliant. No, I think it's brilliant. Jill will
There you
love
go.
this. Oh, you're so lazy and cavalier. It's rare to me, place on my plate and dish it up with Polly.
Here it comes.
I'll drink it up.
What was that all about? It just got... That is something else. Look at the volume of meat on there.
No, but look how perfectly it's cooked. Please give me that end bit there, quick.
Are you happy with it, Josh?
This is, I think, the best steak I've cooked
there's
on a
more,
boat.
I think.
What's in here, Josh?
That is our dirty mash, which is mashed potato with skin on, lots of garlic, lots of onion, pre-fried and ready to go. In fact, it's got confit
garlic confit before we came.
Yeah, it's got the garlic confit in that one. That has cooked in oil for 24 hours at 83 centigrade to bring out a different flavour of the garlic.
Lee Shores
It's
and
like
Mace-
coming on
Cool
vacation
Runnings.
with a scientist, isn't
No, it's
it?
like coming on Cool Runnings. Normal trip.
Really?
But yeah, really. So
He does.
No,
No, it's not like Cool Runnings. Cool
Stop
Runnings
it.
does
no,
cheese,
that's just
cheese toasties.
that is plain.
This isn't. This is
plain
only when Josh
dishonouring,
comes on.
Plain rude.
This is not Cool
This is all
Runnings.
Josh.
He's my son.
We'll need to
He's
kitchen
an
roll
Oliver.
for this underneath the chopping board.
Yes, it was.
So we had a force 6 warning from the south today.
7.
Force 7 warning.
Gusting 7.
And we were going to round the Mull of Kintyre. Now the worst conditions are going west to east, which we would be, with strong winds from the south, which they would have been, so we avoided it. And we've come through the Crinan Canal, which we're sat in now. And we're not sure we made the right decision, Dan, because it is absolutely benign.
So, of many lessons I'm learning this week is backing yourself when you make a choice.
We've got another story. There's a boat behind. There's a boat behind us, and on board are 2 friends of ours. They've become friends in more than one way.
Yeah.
And an elderly man and his wife. And careful!
Dan,
Who left
you
that door open?
clearly had too much.
That's too much.
And you're in your cacks.
Look!
And you don't even remember it.
That is unreal. Oh my word! I've just had this
No,
up
he
with the glass.
was worried about
Can someone
hearing
bolt that
us.
door?
But was it Carolyn? Is her name Carolyn?
Caroline.
Caroline. Well, we went.
Actually know her name.
Yeah, we went.
Well,
I
we've
got
been introduced.
chatting to her quite in some depth when they were behind us there, and then
She was in
a
front
little
of
bit
you.
later we went to use the facilities. We went to use the facilities
What sort of
at
facilities?
the facilities, the showers basically.
Yeah.
And I walked into a shower and she stood in there. She stood there.
Incorrect.
So I walked in on this poor lady.
Did you
Poor
can't
elderly
use this
lady.
for the video?
What are you moaning about, Dee?
Well, I make tea and coffee night and day. First thought when I get up is put the kettle on, make the boys a cup of tea. 8 days I've been away, and you two, until today, not made a single cup of tea.
How did I get roped in on this? I mean,
We keep you alive.
It's wrong.
Okay.
We keep you.
No, I have to keep you alive and make the tea.
We keep you alive from crashing, from engine failures, from. I mean,
No,
Dan
that's
has kept you
different.
alive so many times.
What?
so many times.
Dan's never saved my life. Not once. He's put me in danger multiple
The
times.
chef should be happy with his
I'm not the
life, with his
chef.
lot.
My
You-
son's the chef. I'm the skivvy that makes the tea.
Well, there you go. What else would you do if you didn't make it?
Make jacket potatoes and chorizo for tonight yet
Look
again.
at this. This is just extraordinary. Now, bear in mind, we're running out of food, so we've only got jacket potatoes and beans. Dave doesn't like beans. So look at the volume in this saucepan of beans we've got to try and get through tonight. It's going to be tomorrow morning on the heads. It's going to be an absolute.
The heads that don't really
I
work.
think
It's
you
going to be a
should-
catastrophe.
No, but you need to tell people what happened to you when you were on the helm in the lock turning circle. That was quite impressive.
Yeah, as I was saying about saving your life.
No.
So we were in the middle of a lock, turning circle, as he said, and forward and we lost our gearing. So forward was reverse, and reverse was reverse, and neutral was reverse, and so.
It was quite
We
exciting.
revved up forward, expected to go forwards, and it lurched backwards. And now, how heavy is this boat?
8 tons.
8 tons of boat was now slowly moving, quite fast, moving backwards towards a rocky shore, which we thumped.
Well, after exiting the canal, we headed up Loch Fyne for a last night in the delightful little cove of Loch Gaya.